Too late to
We're off to a good start.
apologize.
Yay. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, it's us again. What the hell are we doing here tonight? I don't know. We had an idea. We thought the main show is dedicated to collecting action figures and all of the related conversations thereof. So we thought, we're all geeks and nerds, and we enjoy movies and video games and all the other topics associated with geekdom. So we thought, let's try something new. So we're going to try this smaller chunk show called B-Side, where it's not going to be scheduled. We're literally going to throw it up on YouTube and have a short chat here. Whoever shows up with the panel. Whoever has anything to say, we're going to banter back and forth for 15 minutes, half an hour, and then we'll upload it to the audio streams where you can get us on Google Play or iTunes or Podbean. So that's kind of the premise. Tonight's conversation will be about video games because I was standing making dinner earlier today and said I want to talk about video games with you guys. So let's do that. So who joined us for this evening, guys? Someone shouted out.
T-Man's here, and I'm playing Super Mario Brothers.
So he is actively playing video games while talking about video games. That's why that man there is the legend.
I mean,
It's
Oh. Now, what are you going to play though? Because he's going NES. What are you going to do?
I mean, I was also going to go NES. I got this new contraption this week, which is the left Joy-Con with the D-pad made by Hori. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Spoiler, that's my only pickup for the week. But yeah, I've got the Switch Online service, and they've got a whole plethora of NES games on there.
A plethora?
A plethora.
Or plethora, depending on, stuff.
Yeah, stuff and things, Rick.
That's the quality you get when I'm the host. Dave, how about you? What are you playing right now? What do you have? I'll tell you what.
In my hand, a video game action figure.
Okay.
Oh, nice shirt.
Thanks. That was actually an accident.
My parents said the same thing about me.
You can't talk about that action figure.
Hey, you want some like gameception here?
Oh my god.
Oh man. I don't have a video game in my hand, but I have currently been working my way through God of War special HD edition, God of War 3.
And how's that going?
So that's. I think I'm almost done with it, except I am stuck at this stupid stage where I've gone through the entire labyrinth, and Kratos pretty much just decided to jump off Mount Olympus back down to Hades for some apparent reason, and I gotta fall down this hole and not hit things. And
That's
I keep
fun.
hitting
I
things.
love that part.
And I keep hitting things.
Did you get to the wait till you get the part where you
Sorry?
Yeah, that was bad. That was just a really bad breakup.
We're talking, that breakup was so bad, Ben Affleck flinched.
Oof.
Nice. I think T's just enjoying himself. T,
I want to know what I'm supposed to be worried about.
T, if you're talking, then we can't hear you, buddy. So, good start. Okay. The first God of War, did that not have one of the coolest moments in all video games when you pass the grave? Oh, by the way, guys, full spoilers to all the video games we talk about. We're not going to dance around that crap. Like,
Aerith dies.
First,
Cake is a lie.
And it's the first God of War that I'm talking about. When you go past in the beginning of the game, the gravedigger that's just nonchalant in the background that says something to you, and then later in the game, like your mind is blown when you come up through hell and out of that grave. Is that not amazing?
It was.
I completely forgot about that part.
That was great foreshadowing.
It was great foreshadowing. But let's get to more recent stuff. So, mainly what I wanted to talk about today was, first off, the PlayStation Mini. Did any of you guys throw a pre-order down on that?
I certainly did.
Where'd you get it through?
GameStop. At the time, they were the first ones that had it up. that I could see, and I figured why not? My power up card, and they don't charge it till it ships anyway. So I just I went that route because with all these classic consoles, it's kind of hard to say whether or not they're going to be scarce at launch. The at-game Sega stuff wasn't, but the Nintendo stuff is, and I would say PlayStation is more of a competitor with Nintendo to this day, and Sega's kind of a retro memory, even though there's a large install base for Genesis players. I went on GameStop and plunked money down on one. So excited, even though they've only announced 5 games.
I got faith. PlayStation's got a very good library.
They do. And one of the points that I want to make about this system is there's no DualShock. So I have a feeling that a lot of the games are going to be RPGs, fighters, and very early PlayStation games. I think there's an opportunity for them to do a second system, but not a PlayStation 2. Call it the PS1 Classic with the analog sticks, and you can have games like Ape Escape, probably Metal Gear Solid, stuff like Medal of Honor. Remember Medal of Honor?
Well, okay, Metal Gear Solid, only if the controller is removable.
Well, what do you mean by only if the controller is removable?
Because if not, Psycho Mantis is going to kick your ass.
Yeah, yeah. But it comes with 2 controllers, and the controllers are removable.
Okay.
But I think that any of the DualShock games, they either do a second system, and I foresee seeing games like Tomba, Parappa the Rapper, Jet Moto, Wipeout, probably Wipeout XL, Battle Arena Toshin Din.
I'd say I was going to say Wipeout XL. I'd see on the first one just because that was one of the first generation games.
Well, yeah, the original, Wipeout and XL, and then Wipeout 3 came later in the line. I was a big fan of those, and Jet Moto, and it was another really good one that people forget about. Maybe Klonoa, and I guess the one thing I wonder is, are they going to allow M-rated games on this? Because Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil, or Resident Evil 2 could make the cut. When Resident Evil 2 came out, it didn't have analog controls.
That's going to be interesting just because they're doing another Resident Evil 2, right? That game's been remade how many times?
Right. Yeah. Well, no, it's only been remade. This is the first remake. Resident Evil.
Or re-released.
Yeah, it's been re-released on countless systems. But the Resident Evil 2 remake, I'm super stoked for, and I think because this remake they're saying is a complete remix of the events.
Yeah, they're touting it as almost a brand new game.
Yeah, because I don't think it's going to have the Claire and Leon A/B campaigns. I think it's going to be like one thing altogether. So we'll see.
Cool. And T's having technical difficulty.
That was the title of the first episode.
Oh, there you go. Now we can hear him.
So, the titles that we know.
I think Optimus Primal is really fucking this dude up.
Apparently.
The seeds of the future buried in the past.
But the titles that we know. Yeah. We got Tekken 3, which Lord knows I've killed enough bottles of Mountain Dew with my buddies playing that game. Final Fantasy VII. So they've already gone past, give me the essential game, which the Super Nintendo Classic failed to do.
What?
Final Fantasy VI, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't get Chrono Trigger on it.
I'm a Chrono Trigger super fan, and I was okay with that. We have it in the
Classic. Had Mario RPG. It had Secret of Mana. It had Chrono Trigger. It didn't have Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger.
It had Final Fantasy 6 or 3.
3.
No, but I'm just saying when the hype first came out, everyone's like, okay, we'll finally get Chrono Trigger out on something.
Earthbound. Dude, Chrono Trigger, you can get it on your phone.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You can get it on.
It didn't have Diddy's. I wanted Diddy's Kong Quest.
No, it only had Donkey Kong. But you can hack the system and get it on there.
I heard it's shockingly easy.
It's stupidly easy.
But what games refresh my memory besides the other? What are the rest of the games on it?
So you have Ridge Racer, Jumping Flash, and see, Tech 3 Final Fantasy. What's the other one?
I don't remember.
Was it no? It wasn't another RPG. I mean, we got a fighter, we got a racer, we got an RPG. Do they have a platformer?
Well, Jumping Flash technically is. It was
Okay, we got a platformer. No sports games.
Yeah. Because I would think Tony Hawk's Pro Skater could be on there if they get the licensing for it, because there's music licenses involved, which would make it maybe iffy. But I would definitely think
Wipeout XL.
Well, yeah, same thing with that. Maybe the original Wipeout. I mean that's they did re-release a lot of these games on PlayStation 3, which is an important point as downloadable titles. But let me look up the list of the 5 games that were announced.
And we, we're going to get at least a few more RPGs. Do you think that 7 is going to be the only Final Fantasy to show up, or do you think we're going to get 8 or 9?
I think Tactics is the more likely one.
Good call.
Oh yeah, that's true. And I got to tell you too, that took some of the wind out of my sail when they announced announced that the Final Fantasies were coming out of.
It was Wild Arms, and Wild Arms.
Wild Arms is a great RPG.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Metal Gear Solid is going to be on there.
Metal Gear. I think they would wait for a DualShock one. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that
DualShock on PS1. I'm gonna be honest.
What was that?
I barely used DualShock on PS1.
I mean,
yeah, but Kojima took advantage of it.
Yeah,
he loved doing stuff like that.
Yeah, that game was like a technical showpiece for the DualShock as far as like moving the controller and the heart attack scenes.
You said you couldn't play Crash Bandicoot 2 without the DualShock. I'm like, yeah,
no,
right.
That's wrong. You can play it without analog controls. None of those games actually were designed for analog.
All right. One game you think that should be on there, and one game that you wish would be, but will have no chance in hell.
I'll go.
I want Jeremy Lammy.
I mean that
what?
I'm Jeremy Lammy, like the sequel to Parappa the Rapper.
Oh man, Parappa, have Parappa the Rapper on there, man. The original.
I'm Jeremy Lammy, way better than Parappa the Rapper.
So is that
after you beat it the first time, you get to play with Parappa. So it's like you got 2 games at once.
So is that your must-have or the no chance in hell?
Yeah.
Okay then.
Okay.
Y'all about to see me die.
The game that my must-have on there has got to be Twisted Metal 2, and I think that's possible provided. Well, no, it's a teen-rated game, so I think that's a likely one. The No Chance in Hell game, well, that's pretty easy. That would definitely be Xenogears. I think that I think they would hold off on doing that. I mean,
nice.
I'm thinking maybe Devil May Cry.
What? No,
that
never came out on PlayStation.
That was PS2.
Oh, that was PS2. You're right.
That was a PS2.
All right, I'm trying to think. Come back to me.
Me buy a PS2.
I played PS2 more than PS. Like PS1, it was like Final Fantasy VII over and over and over again. I can't even hardly remember what else. Let me get back to me.
Soul Blade, and Final Fantasy VII were the thing that made me buy a PlayStation 1.
Yeah. Well,
for me, it was
Twisted Metal 2. So I was originally going to say. Be my game, and I wish I would have, but probably no chance in hell would be. Oh man, I just had it too. Son of a.
What happened?
Probably
Spyro. What about Spyro?
No, Spyro trilogy.
What trilogy?
Spyro the Dragon.
Yeah, I think the Spyro games, at least the first one. Well, I mean, the first 3 they have a good chance. Same thing with Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, 3, and Crash Team Racing. I think they all have a good chance of coming to the classic. To be honest with you.
Well, with Crash being their mascot at the time.
Yeah.
It's almost, yeah, you're right. It's almost got to be.
Because it's like, if you think about it, yes, Vivendi Universal owns the Crash Bandicoot character now. They're co-published with Naughty Dog, and the whole thing is, if you look at like Rare games, they're on the Super Nintendo Classic. I think they're too iconic.
Okay, my No Chance in Hell game, by the way, the Wu-Tang Clan game.
Yeah, well, that would never happen. Actually, you know what is a good No Chance in Hell game is Spider-Man. I was
just about to say that.
Yeah.
And I was flipping through a list, and this reminded me too. And but that got remastered, so that kind of takes that. That one's okay if they leave off because the remaster's pretty damn good. That's Oddworld, by the way, for people that are listening.
Yeah. Oddworld has a decent chance.
Microsoft got Oddworld. Yeah. That was probably the big thing. Microsoft ended up taking that license.
Tomb Raider, the original Tomb Raider.
I think the first Tomb Raider has a good chance. Cool Borders.
Dino Crisis. Dino Crisis would be a good one.
Silent Hill.
I think Silent Hill has a good chance. If not Silent Hill, Resident Evil 1. Symphony of the Night, I think, has a pretty good chance. I mean, that's getting a PS4 re-release. Is Castlevania Requiem is coming out at the end of October.
What'd you say, T?
The Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate.
Oh, that or Trilogy.
Oh yeah,
Shaolin Warriors.
That was PS2 era.
Oh.
Let me ask you guys this real quick. How do you Nintendo, when both systems that they did, they announced everything. You got a full data dump on everything that was coming out. How do you feel about this drip drop method from Sony?
It makes me wonder. Like, do they have the licensing for everything they want to do? I mean, obviously, the hacking of these NES classics has kind of proven that as long as the hardware works and can emulate the games well enough, you can get games on there in a matter of minutes. So, are they finalizing that?
Right.
That's a good question.
I think they want to just wait and build up the hype.
I don't know. I feel like they'd sell more systems off the bat if they gave everybody a full list. I mean, with most retailers. What's that?
So they're going to sell regardless.
Yeah, that's true. But with most retailers having a no money down pre-order policy, like I don't, folks that have trouble getting them later, I'm not sure I understand why they wouldn't just throw down a pre-order now to reserve a spot in line, and then you cancel it if it's something that they're not into later. I don't know.
Also, if somebody's got enough hacking skills to download and all that stuff, if they're going to do that, they might as well just buy a Raspberry Pi and get everything.
Right, and people probably have already, I know people have already done that, and this is old news to them.
That look like a PlayStation, though.
True, unless you 3D print a cover for it.
3D print one, yeah.
You can 3D print all that stuff, but I think for a lot of people, they don't have the know-how. There are a lot of people that are game collectors. Like I can do this. I can play all these games on my PC. I can play the majority of them on my PS3. The PlayStation 3 plays PS1 games, and not only that, but on the PlayStation Store, there's a vast library of them I can download now. In fact, I have a ton of them already. What this kind of represents is a means for people that can have a nice miniature PlayStation that's a collector's item that also plays games, that has portability, and it's a novelty. That's that. At the end of the day, it's really a novelty.
It's a novelty, but since they're putting things again like Final Fantasy VII and Wild Arms, I mean, dude, that's gonna be a solid time sink.
Yeah, just because it's a novelty doesn't mean that it isn't a solid time sink. It can be both. I mean, the NES Classic, Super Nintendo Classic, in my personal opinion, that has basically sans Turtles in Time every Super Nintendo game I'd really ever want. If I had to like narrow it down to a small number, maybe shoot, I guess the other Donkey Kong Country games, but
ActRaiser.
That's not really one I'm big on. Like, and to be fair, like Chrono Trigger, I enjoy it, but it's not like a game I'm like stupidly about. Like I prefer, a lot of people love Chrono Trigger, but I mean, I like, I like Zelda, Secret of Mana, the action RPGs a bit more.
I've never played Secret of Mana. That is
really
one of my dark secrets. I've never played Secret of Mana. I need to. Yeah. As a gaming nerd, there's certain games I feel like you have to have played to qualify, and I think that's one of them.
It had 3-player co-op too. I was fortunate enough to do that.
In my later years, Tetris Attack, the one with Yoshi,
yeah,
that was my favorite game.
That's a really good game.
Well, you're playing one of your favorite games now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sonic.
Unfortunately, I can't pick up. That's one of my favorite reasons to play this.
Okay.
I love.
I can't tell if he's talking now.
Yeah, I can't.
I know. All I know is I just hope that the play when you turn on the system, it plays the music, the tone, and everything.
It has to. It has to.
Well, on PlayStation 3, again, it's PlayStation 3, but still, like on PlayStation 3, when you boot up PlayStation 1 or 2 games, it would do the classic sounds. So I would guess that it most certainly would.
PlayStation, as I said, that generation system, it's got an active library. I think it's going to be a little more than a novelty, to be honest. I mean, something like that's great for travel. You can hook up you can hook it up at a hotel on an HDMI system if you're staying long term. So,
well, I've taken my Super Nintendo Classic to 2 conventions so far. I took it to MagFest and I took it to TFCon last year. Well, technically, I picked mine up the day that I drove into TFCon, so I unboxed it there, and it was a good time sink for when when we were trying to take a load off, in between things.
I'd love to get an old Tekken 3 party going on.
Yeah. If you go to conventions like MagFest, it's really nice to see just how many people have retro systems hooked up in their rooms and are actively playing them.
Very cool. One day, after little one gets a little older.
A little older. I see what you did there.
She's 5 years old. I'm not going to take her to that. Maybe when she's like 7 or 8.
Well, there are a lot of people that do take their kids to conventions, and I think that may be a good topic for another day. But I personally frown upon.
Oh.
You think it's just certain type of conventions, or
it's certain type of conventions? Yeah. But I think the thing is, like, I think a couple. My buddy Thor, that comes to the meetups.
Mm-hmm.
He went to a brewery over the weekend. He went to Heavy Seas, and he said people brought their kids, and it was people's kids running around the brewery, and they were just kind of like ruining the time for everybody.
Guilty.
And, it just I think that there's a time and a place for everything, and when I was a kid, we didn't go into places like that, and I don't know.
Kids had their play place. I mean, and adults had their play place.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with conventions, sometimes it's people trying to escape. It's their vacation. You're also exposing your children to people that could potentially be sick. I mean, con crud is a real thing. And
we'll add that one to the show list. I agree.
Yeah.
That'll be a good side topic.
Yeah. We'll add that to the notes. Let's reel it back into video games for a second and ask anybody that's got the Switch Online right now. Any impressions off the bat?
It needs work.
How about for the $20 price point and being the first, few weeks of the operation? What do you think?
It needs work.
Yeah.
I mean, should have had offers like right up front.
There's 5 things about it. So let's go back in time in the original Xbox, because we can't call it Xbox One anymore. Xbox Live, I believe, launched in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
And right off the bat, it had 5 features that the Switch lacks. It had native voice chat. It had, all you needed to connect to your friends was to have their username. You could send them a friend request. It had messaging. You could send messages to to your friends. Hey, do you want to get a game going? You know, or are you going to be online? It had very, very easy, intuitive matchmaking. And on top of all that, you know, it
had
was
MechWarrior.
well, it didn't have cloud saves, but you know, it basically it was a complete system, and they were very, very open about what games had live support. And here it's, you know, I think their biggest issue is, yeah, a lot of games have Switch Online, but then you go to stuff like Fortnite and it's free, and not all the games have voice chat like Mario Kart does now, but it's really convoluted to get voice chat going with people that you're not friends with, and because you operate on friend codes. I mean, like a good case in point is you know, Alexa has a Switch, and I was like, oh, hey, you have Splatoon 2. We should, you know, become friends on here to play Splatoon 2. And just, it was a reminder of how shitty and stupid the friend code system was, because you know, I had to give her my friend code, and then she didn't have an update for it, so she couldn't add me. She hadn't activated something on there, and it was dumb.
Like you said, overly convoluted for having all these companies already established the better way to do it.
Right, exactly. If you want to compete with them, you know, and like the kicker for me is, you can't, there's no native chat, right? And Nintendo's like, oh, we have to use friend codes to protect the children, but then you have to use your smartphone to talk to people online. So, okay, the kids have access to a cell phone. You're just making the system convoluted for no reason. You know, you're punishing your large player base for, you know, I guess misunderstood intentions.
Undue layers of safety that aren't
right, exactly.
You know, needed.
Kids don't have cell phones.
What's that?
So Nintendo thinks kids don't have cell phones.
Yeah. I mean, the Switch has great parental controls, and I think that's the thing, is they just kind of need to double down and say, hey, you know, ultimately we need to make folks understand we have parental controls and they need to use them. If they don't want their kids. Yeah, exactly.
So I've not used any games online, like online play, and you said you have with Splatoon 2. What's the experience like there? Lag or is it...
No, it's fine. It's just, it takes you back to the Dreamcast days because nobody's talking.
Right. I don't know that. I think that could be a blessing.
Well, I mean, sort of. I mean, you know, when I play a game with friends, I want to talk to my friends.
Sure.
Most of the time, you know, I want to do like a group party, and you can do that now. But for a while, we were having to use Discord or Facebook Messenger or, you know, Google Hangouts, whatever the bulk of the people were on. Ventrilo was another one. This goes all the way back to the Wii days when Smash Brothers Brawl was out, and it was kind of like that in the initial days of the Switch. So, you know, yeah, it's cheap, but I would rather have a fully fleshed out online, especially when Smash Brothers comes out. And I know a lot of people that I want to play the game with are going to be buying the Switch just for Smash Brothers, and it's going to be more fun trash talking them. It's going to be more fun being able to say, hey, let's play this type of game, and let's set these options to let's set it to stock. Let's turn items on. You know, let's play Final Destination stages, or let's not play moving levels. You know, to be able to coordinate how we want to play the game easily and effectively.
I heard that most people use Discord when they want to do chats like that.
Yeah, a lot of people do, but I mean, it's, to me, you know, the Switch has 2 USB ports on the side of the dock, and you know, when you're playing it in handheld mode, it's got a audio jack, and on top of that, the audio jack, it does work natively. I mean, people discovered pretty quickly that Fortnite, of all things, has native voice chat built in.
I think other companies will start building it straight in and just letting Nintendo be the only people, and Nintendo's hand will be forced to stop using that dumb app.
I mean, if we learned anything this week, it's that, and going back to Fortnite, not that I'm a big fan of Fortnite or anything, but
I'm horrible at it.
it's a prime example of how you can force people's hands. Like Sony, for instance, to go back to them real quick, they were the only company holding out on crossplay on their systems, meaning that if you had Fortnite or Rocket League or Minecraft, you couldn't play with the Xbox crowd or the Switch crowd or the PC crowd, whereas Switch, Xbox, and PC could all play together. And just the backlash kind of forced Sony's hand.
Right, and it was Sony's execs said even they doubled down on it and quoted as saying something like, well, we feel that PS4 is the best experience. You need to go with us. And
right,
it's kind of a big middle finger,
kind of, sort of, because I can understand their reluctance to do so, right?
Not when you're the last horse crossing the finish line, though.
Well, they're the leader of this console generation, and their stance. It does. You can say it boils down to quote unquote greed, but the whole thing is traditionally, if you wanted to play a multi-platform game, on your system, it was only, this was a big issue when Destiny came out. They split all the player bases. They had the PlayStation player. They had the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 player bases, and then the Xbox One and PS4 player bases. Then Destiny 2 came out. It was split across the 3 player bases, and it was kind of like wow, you're offering like an MMO type game, but it's split, all across the different consoles.
Right, fragmented.
Yep. Like imagine if World of Warcraft operated that way. If it was on other platforms, it would be
a cluster.
It would be a cluster. And I can understand how that, like in the past, that's how things worked, and it was a walled garden. It was like, okay, if you want to play Destiny with your friends, they all better have PlayStation 4s, right?
Yeah.
Or if you want to play Call of Duty with your friends, they all better have PlayStation 4s. So by crossplay, it's I think Sony might have realized that, hey, we're the only console leader this generation that arguably has exclusive systems or exclusives for our system. So we can have crossplay, but people will still come and buy PlayStation 4s because it's the only place you can play Spider-Man, the only place you can play Last of Us, the only place you can play God of War. They're never going to open those up to the Xbox. Uncharted, Gran Turismo. There's
I have a PlayStation 4 anyway. So.
Yeah.
Speaking of Spider-Man, how is it?
Love it. Absolutely love it. I don't know if T's played it at all yet, but
I haven't been able to play it. I'm going to try to get my son a game share, but he said something happened and he had to start his game all the way over again. So I guess I got to wait longer.
I'm debating if I want to wait for Redbox or if waiting for a price to drop.
How far did he get to before he had to restart?
I'm not sure.
Okay. That sucks. Yeah. And what percentage are you at, 0?
95%. I completed the story, and I'm trying to 100% the game. This is easily one of my favorite games this generation. And a thing about it is it was a game that when I wasn't playing it, I was thinking about playing it. And I don't know if that resonates with anybody.
Yes.
But
yeah,
yeah, definitely.
Every now and then there's a game, and it has flaws. There are some repetitive side quests. There's some things in the combat and the traversal that I don't like. Sometimes you'll just hit a wall the wrong way, and you'll cling to the wall, and you're like, "No, I'm trying to do this challenge. I need to do it in 10 seconds." And there are little frustrating points. There's some things in the combat, like if you run into like big guys like on the street, they'll beat the shit out of you. And it's like, no, Spider-Man wouldn't be beat up by a fat guy. But at the same time, it's like I love the story of the game. It was one of the most well acted, and that's the thing that Sony does incredibly well, is that their games are very well acted, and for the most part, I think that they have really well put together stories.
Well, Insomniac does great stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we were playing Ratchet and... Sorry.
You know how many hours you have into Spider-Man?
It doesn't tell you, but I can tell you it's probably around 40 because I was losing sleep over that game. I was trying to stay up and play it.
That's what I thought I had on Horizon Zero Dawn, but it says I have over 100 hours into it.
Jeez.
Wow.
It sneaks up on you, man. That's how a good game is. You don't even realize.
Yeah.
That's on my list.
That I've been thinking about when I'm like out at work or something. I was like, I wish I could play this on the Switch, but I can't.
Horizon's on my list.
Yeah, it's a good one. It was like the complete edition was like $12 on one of the sales.
Yeah, that's when I bought it. So it's really worth full price, to be honest.
But back to Spider-Man real quick. One thing I'll say without spoiling it is the story was so well told that the ending actually made me misty-eyed, and I'm not even kidding.
Like, did they dig Uncle Ben back up and kill him again?
No, no, they didn't. That's fucked up. It's actually pretty touching, and you can find Uncle Ben's grave in North Harlem, and you can actually interact with it
and take a selfie.
You can take a selfie with anything.
Peace sign.
Yeah. Did you find the wedding proposal in it?
I did. Yeah.
What about the Ghostbusters HQ?
I found that too.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, another thing too is like when you beat the game, you open up 50 more photo ops where you have to go around and find landmarks in New York. So you find some pretty cool stuff. I'll just leave it at that.
That's cool.
Horizon has that grave thing too. Somebody important to her dies, and she gets to visit the grave and interact with it.
Yeah, but it's Uncle Ben.
I got to know this character more than Uncle Ben.
Well, when you play Spider-Man, you're going to get to know Peter Parker and Mary Jane and Aunt May and Miles. And
what is your favorite costume?
Oh, man, it's easily that cel-shaded costume.
Cool.
I don't know if you saw the pictures of it.
Oh, yeah, I saw your shares.
Yeah. Looking one. Yeah.
Yeah. Aside from that, it's like the Iron Spider one I used a lot. The Spider-Man 2099 suit, both of them, the red and the blue one and the white one.
And that one just looks cool.
Okay.
I think that, they did really, really well with the selection of costumes. There was the big time Spider-Man costume. That one was amazing. Letdown. Yeah, big time letdown.
I knew someone was going to say that.
And I really enjoyed the Scarlet Spider costume being there. They had all three of the MCU costumes: the homemade suit, the Stark suit, in addition to Iron Spider, and Punk Spidey was pretty cool seeing there. I enjoyed going around and flipping different costumes on and just playing the game.
They had a wide selection, didn't they? I saw a list run through. I was like, holy shit, I didn't even know half of these things existed.
There's Riley suit.
Yeah, they do.
Oh,
yeah.
And it's got to be a symbiote.
There isn't actually. No.
Yeah.
What?
The general consensus is that stuff like that is being saved.
Yeah.
For later.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say anything about that, but there's reasons why there wouldn't be a symbiote suit in there.
Okay.
So these B-sides are supposed to run around half an hour, so we're a little over that. Do you guys want to start a wrap-up, or do you feel like you have more to say, or what?
I'm about to eat my cigarette.
And we can always do more of them. The nice thing about these are we can pretty much just pop on and do them whenever you want. It's kind of like a cheap hooker. No flair,
No idea about that.
You guilt face. Yeah, guilt face. But no, how about we just real quick, why don't you guys run down and just say or talk briefly about the next game that's coming out that you're looking forward to. Dave?
Sure. For me, the new Soulcalibur 6. Easily. But yeah, it's me at True Star Screamer on Instagram at True Star Screamer, and I am greatly anticipating Soulcalibur 6, specifically for the create a character mode. So my gamer tag, True Star Screamer, that's a TRU. You'll be able to see my creations.
Okay.
I got to find the one I made for Soulcalibur 4, but yeah, The next game I'm looking forward to is probably, I want to say Red Dead Redemption 2, even though I don't think I'll have the time to play it, but I didn't think I'd have the time to play Spider-Man, and I sure as hell did, so we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, you can add me on the PlayStation Network or Xbox Live. It's Extra Zero, all one word on PlayStation, Extra Space Zero on Xbox Live, and I anticipate on playing a lot of Laser League. I don't know if any of you guys have played that. It's currently free on Games Pass. Well, not free. It's included on Games Pass, and it's that and Friday the 13th are the PlayStation Network Game of the Month for October. So,
I got Friday the 13th.
Yeah. So I definitely anticipate playing Laser League, but if anybody wants to play some Friday the 13th, I will be down for that. I also own that on Xbox.
How about you, T-Man?
Resident Evil 2 remake and Devil May Cry 5. When those come out, I won't exist.
Wait a minute. But that's you're not going to get Smash Brothers?
Yeah. I bought the last one, and I never played as every character on there. And then I stopped playing it.
Moved on to something else. That's the thing about fighting games, isn't it? That there's no real stop point. So
I'll buy it, and it's going to collect dust. I'll have it because you have to have Smash Brothers. But I'm really looking forward to Devil May Cry 5 and Resident Evil. I've been wanting that remake to Resident Evil 2 forever.
Yeah, that's
because it looks better than I could ever imagine.
Yeah. Did you see the footage of William?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to go watch that.
And
I have that on pre-order as well.
You can reach me on YouTube as T-Man978. And whatever else. My PlayStation Network name is Agent Jazz. Make sure you tell me who you are, or else I probably won't add you.
And if you tell him who you are, he may not add you if he doesn't like you.
Yeah. I won't deny that.
He likes everybody. Let me see.
Everybody's good.
I would say I'm looking forward to Mega Man 11, a little old school, challenge. So that's next, and then I'm with 0-1 Red Dead. I played the shit out of the first Red Dead, and I can't wait to go back because everything about that game looks amazing, and that should be a topic for another one of these later.
32-player multiplayer.
Oh my god! Yeah, we'll have a video games part 2 pretty soon, I'm sure. But all right, guys, I'm Partsformer on Xbox Live. Good luck finding me there because I'm hardly ever on because my son is watching Puppy Dog Pals on TV hooked up through my Xbox. So that's that. And I'm on Switch. And I guess if the guys want to, we can throw up our friend code somewhere on one of the forums or, Facebook. And if they want to, and you can find us there as well on Switch. So
the description.
Yeah, we could do that. So that's pretty much the gist of these things, guys. These are the B-sides, short, sweet conversations that are pretty focused. We'll do these on movie reviews or reactions to things, movies, TV shows, blah, 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 blah. If you have any suggestions for anything you want us to go on about because you are sick of talking to your own friends about them, then let us know. So I think that's about it. Everybody say what you had to say. Good to go?
I think so.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us tonight. These are not scheduled, so they pop up when they pop up. All right, guys?
Hi, Alex. Hi, Mr. Gretzky. And I think that's it.
Good enough for me. All right, guys. See you.
See you, guys.